Welcome to Trains Around London 2003. We start at Kensington Olympia and arriving into platform 3 is 319011 on a service from Watford Junction to Brighton. These services used to run from Rugby with Connect South Central, but when Govia took over the franchise in 2003, these were cut back to Watford. 319011 later operated in Southern at the new Thameslink liveries and was later stored at Long Marston MOD and then moved to Eastleigh for storage in December 2020. Arriving into Platform 3 is a Silverlink Metro branded 313123 operating at Euston Junction to Clapham Junction service. On Platform 2 is 313113 on a Clapham to Euston service. These shuttle services ran every 30 minutes Mondays to Saturdays and were timed to pass each other here. On Sundays the service was hourly. Silverlink Metro continued on until 2007, when it then became part of the London Overground network. Class 378s took over from the Class 313s, and as of making this video in 2021, all services operated between Clapham Junction and Stratford, with 4 trains per hour, 7 days a week. Here we see 319008 on Platform 2 on a South Central train service from Brighton to Watford Junction. 319008 continued service with Thameslink until 2018, when it was then converted to become a Class 769 for operation with Transport for Wales. This was renumbered to 769008. This cross-London service has changed over the years. The Brighton section was cut short to Croydon. However, the route north was extended to Milton Keynes Central. Today, in 2021, services now operate between Clapham Junction and Milton Keynes Central, with Southern branded dual-voltage Class 377s. When I travel to Kensington Olympia, I would often take the London Underground District Line service, which operated from Platform 1. This was an opportunity to ride a D-stock and have a carriage to myself. At the time, these were unrefurbished sets. However, the refurbishment programme started in 2005, with all D-stock sets refurbished by 2008. The Kensington Olympia service ran as a shuttle to High Street Kensington, calling at Earls Court en route. As this was filmed on a Saturday in 2003, I believe these shuttles ran all day on weekends, but would only run on weekdays if there was an exhibition on at Olympia. There may have been some morning turns, but feel free to correct me on that one. Today in 2021, the Olympia shuttles run on weekends, but on weekdays there is only 7 morning services and 2 evening services. These stocks were withdrawn between 2015 and 2017, and the S7 stock currently operates on the District Line. We now move on to London King's Cross. Intercity services here were operated by Great North Eastern Railway, or GNER for short, owned by Sea Containers Limited. Here we see an Intercity 225 set with 91124 on the rear. Next we see 91124 departing on a northbound service. Emerging from Gasworks Tunnel is one of GNER's Intercity 125 sets, led by 43107, with 43111 on the rear. I'm not entirely sure which service this is, but I would hazard a guess in saying that this is the 0700 service from Edinburgh. Here are a couple of Class 365s leaving King's Cross on the suburban side. These are still wearing the old Network South East livery, but are operated by West Anglia Great Northern, or Wagon for short. The franchise was owned by National Express and lasted until 2006, when First Capital Connect took over. National Express, however, retains the West Anglia operation. Services today, in 2021, are operated by Govia's Thameslink, Southern and Great Northern franchise. A pair of Wagon Class 313s are seen on a Hertford North service. In the daytime on weekdays, these would operate out of Moorgate, but on weekends and weekday evenings, the Moorgate branch was closed and all Wagon suburban services operated out of King's Cross. Evening and weekend Moorgate services came into operation from December 2015. Class 717s replaced these Class 313s from 2019. One 131 is seen leaving King's Cross. With Sea Containers filing for bankruptcy in 2006, the East Coast franchise was then run by National Express and later Virgin Trains. Today in 2021, the service is state-owned and operating as London North Eastern Railway, or LNER for short, with a fleet of Hitachi Azumas, although some Intercity 225 sets remain in service. We now move on to London Euston, and here is Silverlink County branded 321415 on a service from either Milton Keynes Central or Rugby. Currently, in 2021, this unit is now operating as a Class 320 with ScotRail as 320415. At this time, Virgin West Coast services were mostly still local hauled. Here is 90-009, which later moved on to Greater Anglia, and on the other side we can see a couple of Class 87s and a then new Class 390 Pendolino. A DVT leads in with a local hauled set from the north, with a rake of Mark IIs and a Mark III buffet. On the rear is 87-003, which was later exported to Bulgaria. Traditionally, driving van trailers would always be at the London end, with the locomotives situated at the country end, that is, the end furthest away from the buffer stops. The exception to this was at Liverpool Street, where locos would be at the city end. If you know why this is the case, then post your answer in the comments below. Silverlink Metro 508-302 is seen on a service from Watford Junction. This is one of only 3 Class 508s operated by Silverlink, the rest of the Metro services being operated by Class 313s. These 508s could only run on the Watford to Euston DC route as they had no pantograph, so were restricted to DC 3rd Rail routes only. All 3 of these Class 508s have since been scrapped. Today, in 2021, the service is operated by London Overground. (87-019) is seen racing out of Euston on a northbound service. This loco operated with Virgin until 2005 and was then stored until 2007 when it was sent to Bulgaria for trials with a privately owned freight operator, Bulgarian Railway Company. Here is 321415 again, now paired up with 321401, working a service to either Milton Keynes Central or Rugby. Today in 2021, these services are operated by the West Midlands Trains franchise, under the trading name of London North Western Railway. Class 321s no longer operate on this route, and both these units seen here were converted to Class 320s for use with ScotRail. Another local hauled set arrives into Euston, with 87030 on the rear. This wasn't one that was sent to Bulgaria, instead it was scrapped at Kingsbury in 2010. (313-114) arrives on a Silverlink Metro service from Watford Junction. The Class 390 Pendolino is seen on a northbound service. These entered service from 2002 and eventually replaced the local hauled services by 2005. Virgin continued to operate the West Coast services until 2019, when it was then taken over by Avanti West Coast, a joint ownership between First Group and Italy's Trenitalia. London Paddington now, and here is a Class 332 departing on a Heathrow Express service. These units have been in service since the start of the Heathrow Express in 1994, but they were withdrawn in 2020, being replaced by Class 387s. First Great Western operated the Intercity 125 sets out of Paddington on West Country services. Here 43152 and 172, both wearing the fag packet livery, is seen on a westbound service. As of 2021, 43172 still remains in service in the west with Great Western Railway. Go-Ahead Group's Thames trains operated the local services using Class 165 and 166 turbo units, wearing an almost identical white, blue and green livery. These also ran services to Oxford, Bicester, Stratford, Worcester and Hereford. Here, a 3-car Class 165 unit is seen leaving Paddington. The 165 could be identified from the very similar 166 by the style of the green on the doors. Here we see a C-stop train on London Underground's Hammersmith and City line. These operated until 2014, when they were replaced by the S7 stock. (332.002) is seen arriving on a Heathrow Express service from Heathrow Terminal 4. This service is operated by Heathrow Airport Holdings. (43019) and (43147) are seen leaving Paddington. The Class 43s continued to operate out of Paddington until 2019 and were replaced for the Class 800 and 822 Hitachi units. Currently, in 2021, some Class 43s remain in service on short Class 255 council sets on local and regional services in the West Country, operated by Great Western Railway. The Thames Trains Class 166 is seen leaving Paddington. Note the different style of green around the doors compared to the livery on the Class 165. Forty-three 179 and 43 127 are seen arriving into London Paddington. As of 2021, these power cars are still in operation with ScotRail. And here is 43 127 and 179 again, this time departing London Paddington. In this closing shot, we see 43142 and 43024 departing on a westbound service. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.